Tabernet Talks, another episode here. And we have a very good realtor here today, okay? A guy who is on the front line. I wanted to bring him on. I met him about a month or two ago. And it's always good to meet people that are in it full time or in it, to win it, right? So Marty Dunlap from HomeSmart. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Alex. You're a gracious guest.
I talked to this guy. I could tell right away he knew what he was talking about, right? And he's the kind of guy that you can flow with in real estate. And that's what you want right now. You don't want somebody who's like a robot who's, Google or AI. I keep trashing AI every week because I don't know why.
Stop it.
I got to stop that because people love AI.
It's the future.
So I'm going to leave it alone today.
Accept it.
But let's hear about you. How you got into business? How long you been in the business the whole nine?
Sure. Again, I'm Martin Dunlap. I am currently with HomeSmart. I've been an agent for about 4 years now. I got my start actually with Weichert. Shots to Weichert. You guys are great. But I had to move on. Great teaching with that platform and those folks. Met an incredible bunch of folks there who I'm still friends with. And I learned a lot about being an agent. Before that, though, I would say the breadth of my information or knowledge about real estate came from my previous years as a real estate investor. So I've invested in real estate, all sorts, and that's kind of where I learned the business of real estate. My mother also was a real estate agent for over 30 years, and I got a chance to kind of watch and see how she did her thing. So,
it's good to have that background.
It's great to have that background. It's great to have someone to go to. Her broker, which is almost like her sister, her best friend, has always been a mentor for me as an investor because she's an investor too. So I've always gotten mentorship in the business of real estate long before they were begging me, Marty, you should be an agent. You'd be great at it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
well, you got the personality. Right? You need a personality if you're an agent.
You need a personality if you're an agent. But full disclosure, in my previous life, I was a software engineer. I got my degree in computer science.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yes.
I can't see that, man. Well, you're smart. I know that. But I mean, you're the kind of guy, you got to be out. You got to be talking to people. You can't be in an office closed away.
Yeah, and that's what happened. I did that for over 20 years. COVID happened. Things were kind of like shut down. The company was like, everybody's out and about and at home, and I'm home, and I got laid off, and I was like, what am I going to do? And this is the true story. So the question was, how did I get into real estate? And this is how it worked. My wife's still employed, has an incredible job, works for the state. Saw that I was kind of home, moping around, and just like, what are you going to do? Go back out there. And I was like, I don't know if I want to do. My wife, in her infinite wisdom, knew if I was peeking over her shoulder, I'd be interested in whatever she was doing.
Sure.
She went to real estate school virtually to become a real estate agent.
Your wife?
My wife did. With no intention to ever really, but she knew I would do it. She knew I knew real estate.
So she actually jumped in first and
she
said,
jumped in first.
I'm going to do it, and then it's going to make you do it.
It's going to make me do it.
Wow.
She went, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Maybe I should make my wife a loan officer.
There you go.
Then I don't have to work anymore. That's perfect.
Just start doing it.
Start studying.
There
all right,
it is.
Come on.
There it is.
All right, good.
So I did that. I saw her studying, and then I was like, I'm going to do it. Right after that, I went to real estate school, and kind of.
Did she pass?
Oh yeah, she passed.
So she has her real estate license.
Oh, my wife is a licensed real estate agent.
You're kidding me.
No, my wife is a licensed.
But she doesn't practice.
She doesn't really practice. She'll throw me referrals, whatever. Like I said,
dude, that's great.
She never really wanted to be. She just like, I know if I do it,
you're truly in a family.
I'm in a family
of realtors. Like your mother's a realtor, your wife's a realtor, you're a realtor,
absolutely.
You're an investor.
Yes.
So you literally do live and breathe.
Pretty much. Pretty much. So
you went through the pandemic market, right? I have a lot of agents that come on every week. They've been through the pandemic market. I always like to talk about that because that was of the craziest times that we've ever seen in real estate. Yes, it beats 2008. Everybody asks me, is it worse?
Sure.
Killed 2008.
Oh, for sure.
And any other market that I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. We just went nuts. And a lot of agents got in, right?
Yeah. I'm a COVID baby. We call us COVID babies. I got in November of 2020.
Right. A lot of guys got in at that time.
Yeah.
And so what happened? I'm sure you exploded, right?
Sure.
Like everybody else.
Sure.
And then we hit a really hard market the last 2 years.
Sure. So yeah. So my first year doing it, I made Circle of Excellence bronze level, Gloucester County.
Awesome.
Yeah. Just my first year out, hit it out of the park.
Not surprising because of your personality.
Thank you. And, as we matriculated going further into a changing market where, back then, if you had a listing, you had a paycheck in days. You know what I'm saying?
And it was easy.
And it was super easy. So that was if you came in as an agent in 2020, that was your entire frame of reference of what real estate was.
Sure.
So as you see it change and all the agents are like, yeah, it's going to get back to what normal was. You're like, but I don't like that. I like it was hard as a buyer agent. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But you figured it out because if you put some listings under, that was just what it was. So, but again, now you have to learn how things change. And then, NAR throws a curveball, or the lawyers and the settlement throws a curveball. So some of us who are like under 5 years, are looking at a complete change of what we saw. We saw everybody jumping into the market to become agents in 2020 till everyone ducking and running for cover in 2024.
Is that what you're seeing though? Like, I brought you on here because I think you're the kind of guy that's really going to tell the truth.
Sure.
Not that the agents that I have on every week don't tell the truth.
Sure.
They do.
Sure.
But I think you're really going to give us, like, what is that adjustment really that hard over the last 2 years that you're seeing? A lot of agents that I talk to are like, Alex, it's not that hard. I'm still in it, right? But I think there's a lot of mental pain right now versus what it was, obviously 2 years ago. How did you get over that adjustment, or how are you still getting over that adjustment?
It's basically like, so the electric company still wants their money.
Right.
The mortgage company still wants their money. They didn't have to adjust.
I tell you, this guy didn't tell you the truth. He's going to tell us the truth.
It's what it is.
You got bills to pay.
I got bills to pay. So it's either that, or what my wife would love me to do is go back into the IT world.
Sure.
Right.
Well, I mean, was that it? Was that like, maybe you should pivot back to your regular job?
Of course.
Okay. All right.
You asked me to be honest. Of course it crosses your mind. Of course,
Yeah.
things get harder to get. There's no buyers, and there's no inventory for the buyers now. It's like, so yeah.
And at this point, it doesn't matter about personality, I guess, anymore. It's the market.
Wow. It's the market, but I tell you, it is personality, and here's why. I feel like we are now at a point where now we are moving towards quality versus, how do I put it? Just, there's just a plethora of agents out there, and there's just so many clients or potential clients or customers out there who are looking, and they could just throw a dart and get somebody. Now it's, oh, wait, I may have to pay this agent to do.
Right.
Let me find out if they know what they know.
Right.
So we're going to be moving and shifting to justifying your existence.
Yeah.
Being able to,
And are you already seeing that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And are you seeing a lot of the agents say, oh, well, I don't think I can do this then?
Well, the ones that are saying it, I don't see.
Right.
Because they're out already.
They're already gone.
But I'll tell you this. The agents who were good agents 4 years ago are still good agents now and are going to stay. The agents who are dabbling in it and, we're doing okay, not necessarily taking the bull by the horns, are the ones that you may not see around.
Right.
You know what I mean? I know a number of agents who are like, oh, I've got a full-time job now. Who are full-time agents now, I've got to get a part-time job or whatever. And that's real talk. I contemplated the very same thing. So
how about how about new agents, like you said, some are just coming on your team who are brand new? What are they thinking?
I don't know. They have no frame of reference.
Do they know something we don't? Or I don't know.
I think this is just their frame of reference. I look at it as they don't have any experience prior to know
any better.
They don't know that this is not the best time. This is just the time.
They just think it's a job that they're getting into.
It's a job to get into, and I'll figure it out like I'll figure anything out.
That might be better.
I would absolutely tell you the ignorance is bliss model works for that.
That's what I mean. That might be better.
I think it's better for those folks.
Yeah.
I think it's better because they don't have that jaded mentality of, oh, I knew what it used to be. Now I got to adjust. It's like, no, this is what it is.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be able to.
Right. They're coming in cold turkey, and that's it. They're just saying that this is a job and this is what it is.
Yes.
I don't know any better.
Right. But it's going to force them to learn how to do the business.
Right. Which is a good thing.
It's a great thing.
Yeah. They're not jaded.
It's like, if you talk to your friend and like, here, that's my property. You got to check. You didn't have to know anything in 2020.
Right.
You didn't have to know anything about it. You didn't have to know the paperwork, nothing. Just, hey, do my paperwork.
This is
whatever.
what it is.
This is what it is. Now I think agents are going to really have to be able to understand how to market, how to talk to people. Real estate is not about four walls and a roof. It's a business. It's a people business.
Sure it is.
So you got to know how to talk to people.
You got to have you have to be relationship driven.
I think so.
With people.
I think so.
And I think that unfortunately in the world that we live in right now, and social media has destroyed a lot of way that people speak to other people, right? Like they don't know how to talk. Social media has taken the voices from younger people, and they have a problem with speaking.
Sure.
And that's a huge issue.
Sure.
Because in this business, if you can't speak to someone face to face, like I spoke to you when I met you a few weeks ago, and I knew right away this guy can talk.
Sure.
And that's huge. Not that the other agents that we were sitting with couldn't talk, but you could tell who was talking and who can't talk.
Sure.
Right. And that's huge.
That's the business. All we do is communicate with people.
Right.
Whether we're communicating with our clients, communicating with the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, title, lenders, you have to be able to communicate and talk to folks. You mentioned social media. Unfortunately, I think a certain demographic can kind of hide behind the keyboard, kind of hide. There's a certain level of anonymity.
Yes.
I can say whatever I want. You don't know where I'm at. I do say.
Yeah. Computer muscles.
But when you're face to face with people and they're really
different story.
Well, you're talking about their money now.
Yeah.
Real estate is going to almost be for 90% of Americans the biggest purchase of their life.
Right. Why are we not educating more? There should be more educating going on social media. This goes out to loan officers and realtors. I think that there has to be more education on, the process and what we really go through and how you navigate through, right? You don't need 20% to put down, right? And you don't need this and that. And I think there's just not enough people or in our line of work educating buyers on future purchases. And I think if you can do that, and I think you can because you've been an investor for years, so you've been through the process.
Sure.
So you probably could educate even more because you've actually been through the process.
It comes up all the time. I have a different perspective, and I work with a lot of investors. A lot of my clients are investors, and there are a lot of people who come through Op City, who come through Realtor or whatever, Zillow, and they're like, oh, I want to buy an investment property and have no idea what that entails. That's their foray into real estate, not owner occupancy, but, oh, I got $40,000. Let me buy a $50,000 property, and I want to make money that way. And I get it all the time. And I kind of just step back and I say, do you understand what investing really is?
Right. You want to educate them
on
what the process is.
Because it's like I could just give you a listing and you don't know what to do with it. I say, hey, look, let me take the time and explain to you what you need to know so that this is a quality experience for you.
Sure.
Because if I could just throw you listings and say, go ahead, let's make an offer. But if you don't know what to do out of it,
which unfortunately happens a lot.
All the time. You'd be surprised. Most real estate agents don't know anything about the business of real estate, as in from an investor perspective. Right.
Which helps
tremendously. It's just another tool in my toolbox that when an investor comes to me and like show me a listing, it's like, oh, you want something with meat on the bone. You want me to give you the after repair value. You want me to eyeball and tell you repairs. You want pictures. Yeah. I know what you want.
Right.
I'm not just going to send you a listing.
Yeah.
I'm not
which is what happens, unfortunately.
Exactly. So the education also comes from first-time home buyers. There's nothing more fragile than someone saying, I'm going to indebt myself for $300,000, to a house. Am I getting the right house?
Yeah.
How does this work?
Right.
And I feel like you close the deal when you take a lot of that guesswork out and fear by saying, well, this is the process and I'm going to hold your hand throughout the way. So
on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard is the business right now?
10 being hard?
10 being the hardest. And 1 being, I'm wrong. Yeah, no, let's do it that way.
We can do it that way.
Let's
10
do it that
being
way.
Absolutely hard.
10 is absolutely hard and 1 is absolutely great. What do you think between 1 and 10, what would you rate it right now?
It's a loaded question
I know that.
only because you're asking someone with experience.
Right.
So for me, I'm going to say, and even with someone with experience, I'm going to say 5.
So right in the middle.
Right in the middle, 6.
Okay. And then in 2020, it was 1.
2020, it was like half. It was like,
That's the truth, guys. It was half. It wasn't even 1. Which is crazy.
If you were a listing agent, it was 0%. It was easy.
It was 0.
It was 0. If you were a buyer's agent, it was 20.
Right. Because it was hard. Because you had to try to win the bidding wars again and again. Right. It was crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Knowing how to negotiate.
What is eye-opening is that with you saying it's a 5 right now, that means a lot of people are probably saying it's a 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're experienced and know the business. And, the younger people and the people that maybe haven't been in it too long or don't have a book of business or don't know how to negotiate or have reputations or relationships or whatever, they're probably a 10.
I can tell you, and this is just within the past weeks. We're talking weeks. So August 17th, D-Day, we called it, right? So August 17th was when,
NAR kicked in.
NAR kicked in.
Right.
So first couple weeks, there's really no change. But I noticed around the beginning of September when I'm getting a client and I'm talking about, we're going in, and it's like buyer's agency, you have to pay commission.
Yeah.
I had someone say, I have to pay commission? Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
It blew me. I was like, that's what's coming. I have to change how I talk. I have to change how I convey. I have to lead with my value proposition. This is why I am worth you paying my commission. We'll come to that later. I'm going to sell you on me first.
I mean, you're selling yourself.
Have to.
And that really never, I mean, no, listen, we all sell ourselves in real estate, right? Because if you use me, I'm trying to point out why you should use me.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
But I don't think to this extent.
You have to be a master marketer of yourself now, because wait till it gets to the point, because we ain't there yet, but wait till it gets to the point where we're shopping, where buyer's agents are shopping. Well, how much are you going to, he's going to say he's going to do 2%. You're doing?
Are you seeing the shopping too right now?
Not yet.
But you think that's coming?
To be honest with you, and I'm afraid to say this on camera.
No, we want to hear it. Loud and clear.
Outside of that one person, actually, the commission is not that big of a deal, actually. People are willing, because the way that I explain it is say, listen, I have to tell you this, there could be that you pay my commission, this is what's on here. I'm always going to fight to make sure I get a co-brokering situation so that you don't have to, or that even if you do have to, it might only be a portion of it or whatever. Right. So I kind of let them off the hook. Like, I'm never going to try. And if you don't want that property, great. And if I have to eat some of commission, I'm always going to put your needs first. So when I lead with that kind of like, you're in good hands, we'll cross that bridge. The key phrase is, nowadays, everything is a negotiation. It's all about presentation. They're like, okay, here, it's fine.
Let's do it.
Let's just do it.
Let's not make a big deal about it.
Let's not make a deal. But it took me a couple to realize this
is how you got to do it.
That's how you got to say it. You kind of just, and then I'm going to tell you, and this is important. This is very important. We talked about this, posture.
Oh,
My first couple times I was like, by the way, you might have to pay me. You want to go see a property? Listen.
I hear you.
I don't do this for free, and in order for me to, give you the best white glove service I can, my compensation is 3%. I'm going to make sure that you pay as little or none of that. But if you have to, are you okay with that? When you do it that way, I'm finding less apprehensiveness.
I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, which I'm hoping you are and watching, this is good stuff. Like if you're having a problem getting through this, listen to this guy. I mean, seriously,
appreciate it.
I haven't heard it this way, right? So this is good.
Well, it's experience, so I had to go through it, right? So, but I'm a stickler. I'm a learn every day kind of person. I love listening and learning every day, because that's the thing. you asked me for new agents. Listen, if you guys aren't on different podcasts like this one, listening and learning about these different tidbits and these different nuggets, you won't get the inside baseball, as you put it, right? Because it's not in the book. This stuff is not written in the book. It's just
there's no book. Yeah. There's no rules. You can go into a meeting, I guess, like you guys have meetings, right? And they try to share as much as they can share.
Sure.
But sometimes I don't even think they're sharing as much as they should share.
Yeah.
Everybody is trying to do their own thing.
Sure.
And and there's a lot of competitive people.
Sure.
We need more mentors. We need more people that are willing to mentor the younger people coming into the business. I don't think that there's enough, everybody's getting an override on you, and everybody wants to make money on you. And you have team leaders that are trying to make money on this person. But I think that if there were more mentors, I like mentoring. I like helping younger guys get into the business and try to, show them the way of how to be successful. I've already been successful over the last 20 years, or I wouldn't be here.
Sure.
So I think if you can do that, if you go into a meeting and I have 10 loan officers, I'm going to give away every single secret that I can, because I'd like to see them succeed, because it makes me feel good and it makes me look good.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
That's what it's about.
Absolutely.
Not hiding what you're doing and then watching everybody else fail.
Yeah.
If you're that type of person, hey, listen, kudos to you. You may still be successful because you're doing something that everybody else doesn't know. But think deep down, like when you were getting into the business for the first time, you wanted to go to a top guy like you and hear what they have to say in order to get around things.
Most certainly. If you can travel the path already traveled by somebody who's willing to explain to you how they got there, why go a different path and learn and hit your head and trip every time?
I agree.
And that was always my perspective and always my mentality. And so I loved just questioning some of the more seasoned real estate agents in my office, the ones who are the top producers. I always sat with the top producers. So what did you do exactly?
Yeah, right.
How did you do?
Right.
What's the
And a good top producer isn't going to hide from you by telling you what they did.
You really would think the opposite, right? But they're not. They want to, even if it's hubris and ego, they want to, this is how I made my 20 million. Like, let me tell you, because truthfully, I keep going back to this. This is a business of people.
Yeah.
And what happened to our industry? Perhaps agents who are not so experienced, not understanding how it really worked, got us to a point where sellers were like, oh, I got ripped off. I got whatever. And now we had the NAR. So think about it. If we don't help stabilize the perception of the real estate agent,
right?
What do we go? What's going to be the next shoe? Because there's actually like 3 or 4 more lawsuits coming.
There's more coming.
So
I don't even think anybody wants to realize that, but there are things in the works right now where they're going to keep hitting this industry.
They're going to keep hitting. So for my own self preservation, it behooves me to try to make any person's experience with a real estate agent better. If I can give a nugget that helps an agent help somebody get to their first home or close a transaction without any problems, that helps the industry as a whole. Like there's competition, but I don't look. I'm finding that I would say this next generation of agents, whatever. I go to networking events, all that stuff. You've seen it, dude. We're all about So what's working for you? What's
true?
We ain't trying. I noticed what the
younger generation is willing to. They want to learn.
They want to learn.
And they have no couth about asking you. They want it. They want to team up. No doubt.
Absolutely.
The older generation is more to themselves. They don't want to tell you anything. Well, they're more. I don't know if they're threatened. Like I'm not threatened.
They're threatened.
See, listen,
we want to be. There's
threatened. A lot of loan officers that I've worked with, young guys who became, producers. But I was never like, I'm threatened by them.
Sure.
You shouldn't be threatened by the future of our business, because you need those guys to keep our business going. That's it. So
I'll tell you what it is. I don't think that, and when I say they're threatened, it's not that they're threatened by the younger generation or this new class of agent. They're threatened by their resistance to change. And they see these younger cats willing to open up their minds and try and be creative. Like, this is how you get it. Oh yeah, social's a thing. I talk to agents today. They're like, well, I don't have social. Why would I get social media? Why would I do that?
They don't even want to. I know, it's terrible.
I don't want, and I don't have any judgment about it.
No, but I mean, you should listen. How do we know what you do if you don't tell people what you do? Right. I mean, this is one the biggest thing I pitch to loan officers and even realtors that we meet in meetings. You got to let people know what you do.
Got to let people know what you do. If you're in business, the only way you stay in business is to let people know you're in business.
Thank you.
That's
no one would know what I do unless I was on social media. I can't meet people every night. I can't go out every night, right?
Sure.
I have a family, I have kids. I can't be at a networking event every night.
Sure.
Right? So your networking is then social media to at least let people know what you do so that when you do leave your house and someone sees you in the street, they say, hey, man, I saw you do real estate. I want to buy a house or I want to refinance, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
You got to let them know what you do.
And the crazy thing is it actually works. I love social media and all that stuff, but I've always been skeptical until I've seen some of my colleagues and other people.
Gotta do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Brand awareness is the thing. Like that's all what are we if not our brand? And people don't buy products.
You're running your own company.
Running your own company.
The problem is people work for companies like HomeSmart or KW or Weicker, whoever they work for, and they feel that they work for the company.
Sure.
Right?
Yes.
And like I work for Greentree. Yes, sure. I am an employee of Greentree, and you're an employee of HomeSmart because you're an employee of them. They pay your paycheck when you close a deal, whatever it may be. But it's your own business.
Sure.
Remember that.
Yes.
It's wherever you go, you're branding yourself. Wherever you may be, it's your own company.
Sure.
It's your company inside of their company.
You are an entrepreneur, independent business owner. Like you really are not a W-2 9-to-5 show up, get paid kind of thing. Like this is a business.
Correct.
And you have to run it like such. And if you don't, you will feel it. You will understand. You know what I'm saying? That if I just show up to the office 9 to 5 every day, I'm not going to get a check.
No.
I have to get out. I have to
You're an entrepreneur. You got to be doing your own something better than that.
Every tenet or facet of business creation is what you do. You market, you educate, you brand, you do all these things that companies do in order for you to have success. If you don't do those things, it's just showing up. It's not going to work. So
but you should be excited to do that. I mean, that's how I look at it. Anyway.
Yeah, you should be. But it's not always hard because this is like, and I had a great meeting the other night. It was an investor meeting, and there was a guy who was talking about mindset. And he was like, the thing about this business is, I'll give the analogy, is like with baseball, if you hit the ball 1 out of every 3 times, you're a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And that's this business. It's hard to constantly get no and being told no and just it can kind of defeat you a little bit
mentally
if you're not up to it with your mindset, knowing that you are shooting at a maybe 10%, 20% kill rate. Like if I talk to 100 people, if I get 10 or 20 of them to listen, I'm doing phenomenal.
You're doing really good.
Like really good. If I close 3 of them, 4 of them, I'm a top producer in my office.
One thing I want to press on real quick before we get to another question with Marty here is interest rates did climb this week.
Sure did.
As you know, right? So, everybody keeps asking me, the Fed cut the rate a 0.5 point, which they did, okay? And then we were all cheering and partying and rates did come down. If you follow the 10-year treasury, it came down pretty dramatically and we had a party there. Like there were refinances flowing, were purchases coming in, people were going on a contract again. Everybody was like, oh, we're going to go into a huge fourth quarter and then it's just going to continue to cut and cut and cut. That's what we felt.
Then the jobs numbers came out.
And then the jobs numbers came out last Friday, and it was good news for the world except for interest rates.
I couldn't put my hand
interest
on
rates
it, man.
are driven by economic news, right?
Sure.
And the economic news, when it's good and everything is getting jolly, it's really not good for us because the rates go up, right? And that affects home buyers and payments. And if you're trying to refinance, then maybe you can't do it now, right? Because the rates went up. And that's what happened. And the problem is they went up pretty dramatically overnight.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people were like calling us the next few days saying, what happened? Like, are you lying? And what do you mean? They just cut them a 0.5 point. Now you're saying they're 0.5 point higher.
Yeah.
They are 0.5 point higher. And it seems like they kind of leveled off here over the last couple of days, but we are trying to tell people that, you can't time the market. It's very hard to predict the market too. I've been predicting all year that the rates were going to come down by the end of the year, which they did versus we were at 8%, right? And we're in the sixes right now, high sixes, which is great. Yeah. They did come down. I just think people are expecting them to be at 4 and 5%, and that's just not going to happen yet, right? That's probably not going to happen for a while. Even if they cut them another half a point during the election and a half a point at the end of the year, you're not going to see that direct hit. And I know you guys don't want to hear me say this, and they're probably turning me off right now and saying I'm never watching the show again because I'm telling you the truth, that we're not going to see that big bang for your buck overnight. Yeah. Okay? We're just going to see small increments of going down if they do. And I have a feeling we're going to end up at 6% even at the end of the year here, still be in the sixes.
Sure. You know, the 2020 thing was an anomaly, and everybody, you know, were like, oh yeah, 3 1/4, 4, you know.
It was great.
It was great. But it was something that never happened before.
Yeah.
Chances are it won't happen again in my lifetime. And we have to accept it and move on. And people are thinking, well, if I wait long enough, maybe I'll get that 3.5 rate again and that 4. And I'm just like, my question to you is, well, how do you combat that? How do you? I'm going to just wait for them to get back to 4%. And the sad reality you have to share with them is
you just don't know if that's when that's going to happen, if it's ever going to happen.
There it is.
Right. I mean, you know, it's great to say, and yes, it would be awesome, right? Because we would be, you know, but you just don't know now. You know, this market is really unpredictable.
Very.
You know, 1 minute we're partying, and the next minute everybody's silent again. You know, it's like there's heavy waves. It's very, very choppy right now because of the election and because of wars that are going on overseas. And there's so much uncertainty that I think that the market doesn't know which way to go. And then we have a good report with inflation, then we have a bad report with jobs, and then we have a good report with this. It's chaos.
It is chaos. And imagine this, right? You and I are somewhat seasoned or experienced in this industry.
Oh, yeah.
And we're kind of scratching our heads.
We don't know what to say. Right.
When you have that customer who's sitting in front of you and it just hits you with, so what are the interest rates going to do?
Yeah.
And you just kind of caught like a deer and like, I want to be honest with you, but I also don't want to scare you away. Yeah. So what I'm going to tell you is this. Don't expect a repeat of what you saw. That was a timestamp in history. It happened. I'm not going to say it's never going to happen, but what are your immediate needs?
Right.
And I guess what? I've always default to something one of my my salespeople, my broker from Weicker would say. He was like, look, it doesn't matter what market forces are happening. Someone is going to get a divorce. Someone's going to have a child. Someone's going to need a house. Someone's going to need a place to live.
Someone's always going to want to buy a house.
Someone's always going to want to buy a house. And he says, you put that out of your mind and you're like, yeah, you're right. Just be the person most knowledgeable about the market. So it does help to have these conversations. When I'm sitting here talking to a lender and he's explaining to me about the lending market. That's something I can carry with me to my customers when they ask me.
Which is knowledge is great. To share to your clients.
Exactly. So, and that's all we can do.
Yeah.
That's all we can do. Get the house. Let's just get the house. And the other thing that I always do is I always talk about a contrast affordability. It's like, let's not look at your rate. Let's look at what you can afford monthly. Because at the end of the day, that's all we're talking about.
Sure.
You can afford XYZ monthly. That is going to be this house or that house, depending on what day it is.
Right. You don't know.
Depending on what city you want to live in.
Sure.
Depending on
the property taxes, the homeowner's insurance, everything.
And I can help you with every last one of those other things. That rate thing, ask me tomorrow something different.
It goes back to like when I started in the business, a lot of the mentors had told me, sell the payment. Don't sell the rate.
That's exactly right.
Sell the payment.
It's affordability.
Forget about the rate. Just if they can afford $1,500 a month and that's what they want to pay, then the rate's just another question.
This is a great anecdote I want to get. So my next door neighbor where I moved, he moved away, but he was a car salesman. Great car salesman. He actually manages car sales. And I remember buying my cars from him, and I remember the salespeople he had with me. And I paid attention. I wasn't an agent, but I paid attention to how they did it.
Yeah.
They had the best response to, so how much is the car? What is going to be the rate, whatever. It was like.
Does it matter?
Didn't care. Well, how much can you afford
a month?
What's
the payment?
That's it was.
That's what you're paying.
Can you afford that?
Right.
Look at that car. Remember how you liked the way the heat went in? Like, you liked the way that the bucket seats, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I know you said you wanted to be at $400, but for like another $15, because that's really all it is, another $15 a month. Wouldn't you like to? And I was like, I get it.
Yeah, you sell the payment. And the payment is all that matters because that's what you're making. It's not that you're saying, oh, well, I got 6% and 6.25%. The payment's the payment here. Mm-hmm. Okay, so 6% and 6.25%, it's $15 a month.
Right.
It's not that big of a difference on the payment.
And then we get to negotiate because we remember what 2020 was like. And where I'm at in New Jersey, it's not, we still got bidding wars happening. We still got properties coming in and off the market in weeks. Some are sitting. It's slowing down, obviously. But listen, I'm still seeing people lose bids $40,000 over asking.
I know.
Still.
See, in Jersey, they're seeing that a lot.
Still.
In Philly, we're not seeing that as much because the city's tougher.
Still.
But Jersey, you guys are getting it.
Still. Yeah. So I rely upon having a good partner and a lender who's being able to say, all right, look, I know you guys were approved at this much. Yeah. We're going to be at that. We might be able to go up. But do you really love this? Do you love this house?
Yeah.
And I can talk to a partner and say, well, for every $1,000, we're talking a difference of maybe like $10 or whatever that number works out to be. So if you go 10,000 more, you're really only talking maybe $15 more a month for this house.
If you have a good lender who can explain
that,
then it's not a big deal.
It's not a big deal.
The problem is when you have a realtor or a lender team making a big deal about it, and then they panic the buyer.
Sure.
Right, by saying, "Oh well, this is the rate's higher," and you gotta do it the right way, and let these people know that if they can afford the payment, then we're okay. That's what they want.
They don't know anything about interest rates.
No,
some of them don't even know what a $300,000 house looks like versus a $350,000 mortgage. They don't care. No. They know I can afford this a month.
Right.
Is that $250,000 or $450,000?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
No,
so that's why we default back to what we said. Being able to educate and kind of like have that knowledge and kind of hold their hand and say, well, listen, this is where you can be at if you keep property taxes at this time. If you live in this neighborhood, yada, yada, yada. We'll find what you need, so.
So speaking of lenders, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you're seeing when you're dealing with lenders right now? What are some, and I know you guys are seeing them because we pick up, and I saw a post from someone on Facebook last night. I'm not going to name the loan officer, but I know her very well and she's experienced it. She put, over the last week, we've picked up 2 deals from 2 other lenders that dropped the ball.
Yeah.
There seems like a lot of ball dropping right now. So what are you as a realtor are seeing that? So what are you seeing that are some of the biggest mistakes that you think are being made that you can share?
I can't say a specific area where people are making mistakes. I can say that generally speaking, unfortunately, there's attention to certain details. And lenders knowing, unfortunately, every aspect of the loan product they're offering.
Okay.
And knowing that.
Know your guidelines.
I'll tell you a big one is the grant. The grant changed a little bit. And if you're not the lender who was paying attention to the change, and when you approve them, it was one thing.
Right.
But when you get to that second underwriting,
it's a different ball game.
It's a different ball game because you didn't know that, the credit score changed or the whatever, that attention to detail. And I'm not hanging anybody out to dry. I understand for them and their business, things are changing like it is in mine. But you're costing somebody their house.
Sure.
And you're costing somebody their commission.
Correct.
You're costing somebody
Everybody's
time.
affected.
Everybody's affected. This is that attention to detail to knowing that product is what I'm seeing. And also, although our houses are still doing what they're doing, appraisals are a different animal now. Things are coming in under more than they ever been.
True.
Now. Things are coming in
because it's
under.
Adjusting.
It's adjusting.
Yes.
And I would say dealing with appraisals, and understanding the changes in the grant, or understanding the changes in that loan product, that you got to make sure you let your customers know. The biggest thing is I defer. I do not talk lending to my people. I say, you have a lending question? Because they'll say, well, what's my rate going to be? Or what's my closing cost going to be? And even if I know,
you don't even get into it. That's good.
You got to talk to the lender.
You know how many times I get a phone call while we're in a deal and the realtor will call me and say, and this is when you're not doing your job. As a lender, you're not doing your job when you get a phone call from the realtor multiple times saying, he called me asking me what the payment is. Yeah. He's called me asking me, why is his closing cost high? He called me asking me why he needs a W-2 from 2021 when we're in 2025. Like crazy questions that are lending questions, right? That you shouldn't be dealing with. But the problem is that the loan officers are not communicating enough with the borrowers on if you have a problem, please contact me. If you have an issue with a condition that's being asked, please contact me. Or the lender following up with the borrower. How's things going in the process? Yeah. Is everything okay? Or, your numbers are right or whatever. It seems like the borrower is going directly to the lender or to the realtor.
Yeah.
And then the realtor is trying to answer these questions when they should just, and then I say to the realtor, you shouldn't even be answering that. Like, why are they not coming to me?
Right.
They should be coming to me. You're right. They should be coming. I don't know why they're coming to me.
Right. I always redirect and then on that note, be responsive.
Right.
Because I'm finding that some offers.
You seeing that big time too? The responsive times are getting slow or communication stinks?
Yeah.
Let's be honest here, man. I'm going to lay it on the line. All right, we're almost coming to the end of the show now. Yeah. I want to start let's get crazy now.
Okay, right? You got me. Yes, no, they're calling me because they can't reach the loan officer.
There you go.
I
knew it was coming.
You made me say it. They're calling me because I lead with any mortgage question, please. This is my preferred lender. This is their mobile number. Call them. And when I get the call and it's an email or a text about lending, in my mind, I was like, you didn't come to me first.
Right.
You already tried and you didn't get the answer you wanted or didn't get it in time or whatever the case may be. And now you want to know. And now I'm looking like, oh, did I pick the right partner? And it could be something valid, like a kid is sick or something.
Whatever it is, right?
These don't matter to the client. It doesn't matter. They was like, I want my answer now. Marty, what can you do? So I do rely on my knowledge a little bit.
Sure.
And then I'm behind the scenes texting like, yo, where are you? Answer this question for me. I'm on the phone with them.
Yeah.
By the time I hang up, you better text me back and give me this answer, or we got a problem. You know what I'm saying?
You got to communicate.
Communication is key. What I've always liked to say to my clients, subtly, not directly, is I like to, under promise and over deliver. And that's all about key thing. You ask me one thing: set proper expectations
up front. Right.
Up front.
Yep.
Set the expectation and be real with it. Don't overblow. Oh, yeah, I'm going to get you this crazy rate and we're going to close in 5 days and don't worry about a thing. It doesn't matter. You got bankruptcies.
Which is a lie.
It's an absolute lie.
That's what's going on in our industry right now. It's constant. Listen, you're going to promise somebody a 6% rate when the rates are 7%. You're lying. Okay.
You want that.
You're going to promise saying we're going to close in 3 or 4 days. You're lying because you want the deal.
You want the deal.
Right. You want the deal and you want to make a guy like this happy and you want to jump in and say, I got business going with Marty Dunlap and I don't care whatever I got to say to his client, I'm going to say, but you're going to eat your words.
Yes.
And the problem is the deal's going to blow up and then he's never going to use me again. Right. I mean, that's really
absolutely not.
Right.
Absolutely. So here's my thing. We as real estate agents have to own our ish, okay? We got to own our and the reality of it is if you are not entering into that relationship with your customer saying, I'm going to give you the most incredible experience, soup to nuts, what I call white glove experience, knowing that you had to have built a team that's going to support that, the right title people, the right lenders, the right home inspector, because our home inspector will kill you. Yep. If you haven't taken the time to build your and be able to say with confidence, you're going to have a great experience, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I'm like, when I have a partner and I'm like, yo, I expect a level.
Do you think a lot of these realtors that first get into the business are spoon-fed a certain lender or title company that other people are telling them to use.
9 times out of 10, your broker is saying this is your preferred because of whatever.
That's it. So they're telling you to use this guy. Period. Right.
Just for example, I was with Weichert. Weichert actually had Weichert Financial.
Weichert Financial. Right. I know it.
It's what it is.
We've been up against them many
gun
times.
to your head. No gun to your head. They incentivized it and they offer some really great packages, which was called All-in-One Roof.
Sure.
Genius. Absolutely genius. If you use our title, which we have, if you use our lending, we guaranteed, they don't do it anymore, but we guaranteed you're going to close on time or $10,000, whatever.
So is that a good value add? Like what do you think the best value add from an outside source? Would I want to come to you with a value add of saying that I can offer $10,000 if we don't close on time and $3,000 if we missed a commitment? And like, what are the biggest value adds that you think, a lender should, like, what matters? I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I'm going to be super honest.
Let's be honest.
It is so simple. It is so simple. It's ridiculous.
Okay.
What I said earlier. Set my clients' expectations and fulfill.
Period.
That's it. Period. Set their expectations properly and deliver. That's all I ever need from any of my partners. Properly set and be honest. If you can't make it, I respect you more. If I have to go to another, I will come back to you.
So what if I came to you out of nowhere and said, Marty, forget about the $10,000 guarantees and all the other, and I can close on, or I can give the best rate. I'm telling you that I'm going to make sure that your clients' expectations are set correctly up front, and we're going to deliver you to closing and to them closing smoothly. Sure. You're listening.
I'm listening. Okay. And I'm also going to ask other people, did you have that experience with this particular service provider?
Yeah, you're going to check. Yeah. Right.
Social proof is more important than anything.
So you go into reviews, I guess, right? So somewhat, or you're just going to go to
other brokers, other realtors,
right?
Have you used such and such?
Okay.
What was your experience with this person? Yada yada yada.
So realtors talk, guys. They
what? More
realtors
than they need
talk,
to.
Right? They talk a lot, and they can make or break giving a review of another loan officer. So I think that's where because I have a lot of loan officers that listen to the show, so they could make or break you.
Sure,
is what I'm trying to say.
You and I sat and we talked, and I said, with everything with NAR going on and all this stuff, I said, unfortunately, we as agents don't actually accurately depict how difficult it is going from A to closing.
Sure.
With all of the fail points.
Yeah.
There are so many fail points. And when we do it flawlessly and the customer doesn't see any of the backroom conversations and the negotiating and the deal falling apart 30 times, they don't see all that. They don't know any of that. We unfortunately don't have a great way to communicate that anything can go wrong. The title can be bad.
Yeah.
The home inspector can kill the deal. The lender can mess up. There are so many fail points, right? So when we actually get to the finish line and the client is happy and we're like, oh, you're welcome. We have to do it in a way that we don't tell them it's easy, because now they think, well, you don't deserve this because you did it so easily.
Right.
That's the problem now. It's like, oh, it's so easy to sell a house. And it's like, oh,
yeah.
No,
and that's where all these lawsuits came from.
That's where all lawsuits. It's like, dude, there's so many fail points. So being able to have a partner and having a team, whether it's title, lending, all these different people, because we need the right appraiser, the right septic guy.
Yeah.
There are so many any one of those things, no one gets paid. I talk to other agents and I'm like, yo, we're partners. Yo, I want to get to the closing table like you. Like, if we don't do this, we don't do this.
Right.
So
it's wasting everybody's time.
So I call, answer, let's talk. You got a problem, let's talk. It's a relationship. You and I have to have a relationship like I have a relationship with our client.
Yeah.
Or it won't get there. So that's the thing.
I see too many, in this business, you have to talk to everybody involved, right? I see too many listing agents who don't want to talk to the lender. Too many buyer's agents who don't want to talk to the listing agent. Too many listing agents don't want to talk to the buyer's agent. Like, everybody's got to talk here.
The assumption that it's adversarial, and it don't have to be.
I don't understand why it's like that. Everybody hates everybody. Why? For what reason? Like, you hate the buyer's agent, you're the listing agent. And then the lender hates the listing agent because they have to give them updates. Like, everybody's got to be on the same page here because we all got to get the deal. The closing is right. Right. And if we're all not on the same page and no one's talking to everybody hates everybody, it makes it really hard. Sure. And the experience for the buyer could suffer.
And experience to the buyer can suffer. Just imagine your brand is predicated on every person on your team doing what they're supposed to do. And if anybody doesn't do what they're supposed to do, like I said, now you understand how important when I say just set my expectation and deliver. Yep. That's all. I'm not asking you to make miracles. Just if you say this is what you're going to do, just do that. And I'm good. You're perfect in my eyes because I have to deal with 4 of you guys.
Yeah.
You know, and so and
there's a lot going on.
Who is my client going to blame if it don't go right? If the lender screws up, are they going to blame the lender?
No, they're coming after you. No doubt about it. I've learned that. It took me a while to learn that, and I think it did. You know, a lot of newer loan officers don't realize that. They're like, well, I screwed the deal up, so it's on me. No. It is on you.
I chose you.
But guess who's getting a beating?
I recommended you.
The realtor. They're getting a beating, and they look like crap to their clients now, and that's what you don't want. You know, so everybody, feels it.
Yeah.
So last one for you.
Sure.
Predictions for 2025. What happens? Where do we go?
Unfortunately.
Oh boy, this is not. I don't know if I should have asked this question.
Unfortunately, I feel as though because people's attention is all over the place. I feel like the market is going to go the way the existential world things are happening is going to go. Sure. The world environment. I really do.
So does it get? It has to get better.
Doesn't have to.
I guess you're right.
I want it to. I am an extreme optimist.
I'm just trying to be an optimist here a little bit, and you are an optimist. I know you are.
I'm an optimist, but I'm also a bit pragmatic too. And at the end of the day, what do I say? I got to set your expectations. If I keep painting this rosy picture,
I know,
and it ends up not being rosy,
you have a problem. I agree.
What is my opinion worth now?
Yeah.
But if I can convey to you that, listen, I don't actually know. This is what my gut tells me. So this is how we're going to prepare, strategize, and come up with a plan to make sure that whatever eventualities come, great. So which means what? Maybe purchasing now is better than speculating on what it looks like. Right now, it's a great situation.
Know. Right.
Let's move.
Right.
We don't know. The fear of unknown. Let's not speculate, because if you're asking me because you're not ready now, that's fair. Right. But if you're asking me because you're ready now, but you want to see if it's a better situation later.
Is it a good time to buy now, or is it a good time to buy in 2025? I mean, that's the question I get every day. And they ask a lender that. And I don't sell houses, right? So is it a good time to buy now versus in 2025? Well, the rates are going to be a lot lower next year, Alex. I mean, that's what every guru's saying on TV, and that's what every Bloomberg is saying it, and Fox News is saying that it's going to be a better year next year and it's going to be a better time to buy a home because the rates are going to be lower.
Sure.
What are we saying here?
Anybody who says with a straight face that they can predict the future to their clients, I have to look at you side-eyed.
I mean,
but we do it. Listen, we do it because it's
of course we do because it's our living.
But you and I are talking honestly, and I'm like, anybody who tells you, oh, it's going to be, but how do you know? What do you know more than Kramer or all these pundits and all these people? I mean, like, we could be looking at like another world war right now.
I know.
I mean, are you paying attention? How can I tell you what's going to happen next year? So I'm not gonna look anybody in their eye and lie to them. I'm going to be like, listen, I can tell you how it's working right now. You want to know about rates? Ask a lender. If you want to know about what the housing is going to do, I'll tell you this. If you need to buy. If you can wait, roll the dice, right? Rates might end up being lower, or they might not. But I can't predict that.
And the problem is too many people are predicting to buy now because they want an instant gratification now. But You know, I mean, we don't know. And, you know, people are asking me if I buy now, I'm definitely going to be able to refinance next year, right, Alex?
So
And that's a loaded question. All right. I don't know that.
Right.
I'm saying yes, based on the data that we have.
Sure.
That the rates and the market should be in better position next year to refi versus what they are right now.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So if you buy now, yes, we can evaluate it anytime after 6 months, which will run you to next summer.
Sure.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll be better.
Sure.
But we, you know, I mean, it's a loaded
question. And I've heard there are certain lenders out there who are doing really interesting things with that question, which is like, if it, you know, you have 12 months, if you find a lower rate, we'll refinance you, no cost to you.
for free.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So there's different things that you can insulate from the not knowing, because you don't know. If it doesn't go down, I said if it goes down, it'll, but it never went down, so I'm sorry. you know what I mean? I think the answer is we all have to just think about who we're dealing with, and these people with feelings. No one wants to feel like they were taken advantage of. No one wants to be sold fluff, you know, and that's why I try to just be honest. I try to say, hey, listen, if I don't know definitively, I'm not going to tell you I do. And we don't got a crystal ball. You don't got a crystal ball.
No, I wish I did. If I did, and I've said this on the show before, I'd be on a beach somewhere.
Right.
Laying out, you know, with a nice drink in my hand and just saying, I know everything.
I'm going to use this.
I know the future.
And I'm going to use this going forward because I'm going to use this, what happened this past week. I remember Powell getting up 2 weeks ago and be like, yo, absolutely, unequivocally, we are lowering rates. And we're going to keep lowering it. We're going to keep lowering it. He got on there and told the planet Earth.
I know he did.
And what did he do a couple days ago?
I don't, you know, these reports that come out are just, you know, they come out and they blindside everybody. I even think they blindside some of the top economists.
Absolutely.
Because they're like, where'd this come from? Why are we saying the jobs reports are so strong, but we're saying we're heading into a recession, and Powell's saying we're going to cut the rates every, what is going on?
So now you see the value in not sticking your foot in your mouth, telling this person like, oh yeah, no, 2025, yeah, it's going to be even better. Why would I do that to myself? I can't, even if I wanted to. It's just be.
And you got too much of a reputation. Well, I wouldn't allow you to do that.
That's all we have.
As your lender.
That's all we. That's my lender.
That's your lender.
You saw he plugged that in there, guys. You saw what he did there. He slept. He's a good one. That's how you know. You got
to work, right? You got to work. We're working 24/7, right? This is a 24/7 operation.
I got you.
Right? It doesn't shut down.
Even if you're in the middle.
Even
of
if you're in a podcast,
boom.
I don't care.
I love it.
Business is business.
It's business.
Right? Listen, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
This guy blew it up as I said he was going to blow it up. We could probably go on and on, man.
Sure.
I mean, you're the kind of guy.
Cool.
It doesn't phase you.
Absolutely.
Nothing phases you. Hey, man, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
I'm going to have you back.
Please have me back.
All right, because you killed it.
Thank you. Thank
you. Tune in Wednesday, 9 a.m. The clips will be coming out for you guys too, and we will talk to you soon.
Can't complain. Thank you.
Thanks, man.